What if Calgary had a world-class public transit network? What if transit offered you the freedom to go wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted, all without sacrificing your time? In this video, I'll be showing you a plan that, if executed, could make transit radically better. And the best part is, it's inexpensive, fast to implement, and completely realistic. We need a major rethink of our bus network. My name is Joel Happ, and this is Reimagine Calgary Transit. Politicians from all levels of government tend to completely ignore buses, but paying attention to our bus network and investing in low-cost upgrades represents our quickest and easiest opportunity to make the maximum possible improvement to our transit network. We're calling for action on three main goals.
Number 1. If we want to fix transit, we need better bus and train frequencies. We're calling for a standard of a bus every 10 minutes or better across our primary network.
Number 2, we should expand Calgary's primary transit network to form a comprehensive grid across the city. And number 3, we should develop a plan to attain more funding for transit service, with the goal of at least a 20% service per capita increase over 2019 levels.
And before we start, I wanted to give a major thanks to our video editor Jason and to Heyo Saluxi for providing the great transit footage.
The core element of our proposal is a total overhaul of our bus network, centered on the idea of creating a new citywide grid of high-frequency, high-speed buses. These primary lines should have headways of around 10 minutes per bus, so that the average wait time for boarding or transfer is just 5 minutes. And everywhere that's too far from this primary transit network should continue to be served by standard, coverage-focused bus service.
The maps and transit plan that I made are too big to go over in detail, so if you want to nerd out like me, definitely check out the links in the description. Just know that every route that I propose is designed to fill a major gap in our existing network. For example, the Max Cyan would give Northwest Calgary a fast and direct transit connection to the airport via Country Hills, improving on the status quo of a massive detour downtown. The Max Jade would connect the Deep South to the U of C area via Stony Trail, West Hills, and the Sirocco LRT, and could save an average student living in a community like Bridlewood 45 minutes every day. And every additional frequent bus line multiplies the number of viable journeys, since people can connect any two lines with the 5-minute transfer to go from anywhere to anywhere.
We've done the work to show how this kind of dramatic change could be possible quickly and at a low cost. I've made 2 main transit plans, complete with maps and a detailed service analysis for every area of Calgary. They show how we can implement a new primary network while maintaining good coverage service across the city. These analyses are linked in the description below. The first version is the basic version, which includes Phase 1 of the Green Line between Eau Claire and Shepherd. It was designed as an evolution of our existing transit network as of January 2023. First, I added 15 primary bus lines to form a citywide grid. Next, I cut around 30 conflicting routes from our current network. And finally, I replaced them with smaller routes that serve the remaining gaps in coverage. We could attain these game-changing 10-minute headways by fully restoring the pre-COVID budget, but funneling the extra frequency to the primary network, while keeping the secondary coverage routes at their January 2023 service levels. Alternatively, if we boosted the overall budget by 20%, that would be enough to have an all-day, 10 minutes or better primary network, without any drawbacks to the coverage-focused service. I've demonstrated all of this in the analysis spreadsheet using Calgary Transit's publicly available data. The second version is the advanced version, which expands the network to 29 primary routes. This version shows what's possible with a total bus network redesign and with more of the Green Line built. You can peep the sheets for more details and to see the calculations that demonstrate these networks are operable at a comparable cost to what we had before COVID hit. Now, you might also be curious what kind of capital investment would be necessary for this plan to work. The answer? Basically nothing, at least for the basic version. This plan achieves its goals through an expanded bus network, which has virtually no infrastructure requirement. Instead, we can optionally pursue strategic, low-cost improvements wherever they make sense. These could include upgrading bus stops with shelters and live schedules, adding new pedestrian crossings, and implementing simple bus priority measures like traffic signal priority, queue jumps, and painted bus lanes. This kind of high-impact, low-cost, BRT-light infrastructure is already being built along 52nd Street for the cost of just $14.3 million. If we pursued this level of improvement across key parts of the proposed network, we can estimate a total cost of about $103 million. The alternative to transit is having millions and millions of new Calgarians fill up our roads instead, and that would be far more costly. For example, adding one lane to Crowchild over a short stretch may cost more than $2.4 billion. Adding a lane to Deerfoot may cost north of $2.2 billion, and we're projected to add or redo 88 interchanges over 45 years, and they typically cost $100 million each. And that's just the beginning. So far from being a cost sink, creating a viable, usable transit system really is one of the greatest cost savings opportunities we have. Let's take a step back to examine why good transit matters so much to begin with. Nearly 60% of Canadians are struggling to afford food, and 70% are struggling to afford gas, while transportation forms around 20% of the average family's total costs. But we've built a city where transit can take 5 times longer to reach places, so most people feel like they have no choice but to drive. Consider that if you include depreciation, the average cost of car ownership is around $10,000 per year. So, if transit was good enough that families could own one less car or even go car-free, that would add up to huge savings, both for Calgarians and for our local economy. Next, you can look at it from a social justice angle. Studies have found that fast and affordable transportation is the single most important factor for economic mobility and for lifting people out of poverty. And nobody should be losing their freedom and independence just because they're too young, too old, disabled, or can't drive for any other reason. Thirdly, to meet our climate goals, switching people from cars to buses results in around 80% fewer lifetime carbon emissions. And this is even true for electric cars and electric buses. Investing in transit will help us meet our municipal balanced growth targets for inner-city densification, all without clogging our streets with SUVs. Meeting these goals would save taxpayers $16 billion in capital costs and $390 million per year in operating costs. And finally, with our population projected to nearly double by 2046, good transit is the only way we can avoid the traffic Armageddon that plagues cities like Toronto, Los Angeles, and Houston. A study of the 545 largest cities in Europe showed that freeway expansions fail to solve congestion, whereas public transit succeeds. When you get down to the geometry, dedicated transit infrastructure can move upwards of 10 times more people as a regular lane of road in the same amount of space. So as our population doubles, Unless we love the idea of having over 2 times more traffic on our roads, we need to invest in making our transit network a viable way of getting around. This will save us billions in future costs, like freeway expansions and interchanges.
Now, if you're wondering how this gets done, there's actually a lot of alignment between what I've been talking about in this video and what the city's route ahead plans are for transit. But our proposal builds upon them by offering a large number of new frequent crosstown routes that route ahead does not even consider. And it shows how we need to shift our mindset to focus on providing good service as a priority, regardless of our ability to spend on infrastructure. We've shown how we can do this all affordably and without significantly cutting coverage anywhere. To make change happen, our policymakers and elected officials need to hear our voices, and they need to feel the political pressure from a movement that says loud and clear, we need to fix our transit. If you want to see a better future for Calgary, sign our petition, share this video, and reach out to your local city councilor. If we take action on our 3 guiding goals, we can fix our transit network and help our city evolve to be a more sustainable, livable, and equitable place. Thank you for watching, and peace out.